I look? Okay, good. Am I on there? Is my face on there? Is
no, you're centered pretty good.
It's centered pretty good?
You're a little,
Okay.
it is a little down. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to introduce you guys first. I'm trying to do a little different. I just want to show everybody we've got a really cool group here. And again, the Life Regenerator multi-diversification. Doesn't look like we've got a bunch of fruitarians.
Hey! Oh, that's terrible. I'm not gonna do that.
So a cool, really cool group coming from all over the place. And we're talking about how the message has really changed because, you know, I've only been doing like maybe 3 or 4 consultations a week. It was 1 or 2 or 3 a day for a while there, and it was really wearing me down a little bit. But when people call for the consultations, you know, we talk about raw food for about a minute. It's never ever about the food. That's the easy part. You can look at the physiology of a cantaloupe versus a piece of pizza, and you already know what you know about it. But what is it that's going on underneath the unconscious, and who's going to encourage us to, you know, look at that? You know? Who's going to encourage us to look inside ourselves with courage? And to, you know, once we become aware and shine light on the dark spot, then it just fades away and then the energy can flow again. You know, so one of the quickest ways to get to health, and you never have to watch another health video in your life, is to realize what you are, what you've always been. You know, from the beginning of time until the end of time. This is a process that we're all in that is never going to end. When I was younger, I used to think, all right, well, we're going to do this, and I'm going to learn all this stuff, and I'm going to do all these things, and then I'm going to arrive. And then it's going to be all good from then on. Well, that never happened. I never really arrived. But you can arrive at a place where you realize that you are eternal, and that this is an eternal process. And if you can realize that, it lightens the load a lot. It helps you to quit thinking that you're going to arrive there someday and then everything's going to be good, and stressing out because you're not arriving. You know? Because peace is the mission. I'll probably never get the food thing perfect. You know what I mean? I have probably more discipline than most, but the levels of discipline that you can have around what you put into your mouth and what comes out of it are very high. And also what comes out of your heart. You know, what's coming out of your heart, what's coming out of your mind, what are you thinking, you know? Because what you're thinking is really real. We don't think thoughts are things, but they really are. And you will see that when you're in a bad mood and you walk up to the person at the grocery line, what happens to their energy, and when you're in a good mood, when you're thinking those thoughts. So for me right now, and the reason why I'm sharing what I share is because everybody knows, that's sophisticated, realizes that, you know, the teacher teaches what he wants to learn. You know, if you think I know this stuff, I know about all this stuff, but I need to know it as part of my being, like concrete. You know, so that's why I've moved into the realms of peace, because, you know, you get the raw food thing down, and I'll share that for sure. I went to this raw food restaurant yesterday. Some people probably saw the video, and there was so much that I could share with them, you know, that they had no idea. Peeling the beets so there's no dirt in the bottom of the glass, and the right juicers to use, and we talked for a long time, and they really were hungry for it. So I will definitely be teaching raw food stuff, because living food is really, really good. Simple, easily digestible, low metabolic wastes. But it's not just that, because we all know that we've all eaten so many meals through our lives, and most of that stuff has come out, gone into the toilet, and now it's out. So we know that it goes in and it comes out eventually. If I am centered again, not so much,
no,
way down.
No.
Okay, how's that?
It's a little better, yeah.
Centered. Which way would be?
Yeah, that's better.
After you nudged it that one time.
How's that? Is that right?
Yeah, that's
okay,
perfect.
cool. So where were we? We were talking about what?
Vibrations of the fruit.
Oh, the vibrations
How they
of the
affect
fruit.
the mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool thing to talk about. That helps a lot of people because there's a lot of depression and stuff. And I was trying to make videos today, but I just been a little bit. I hate the word tired, but it's kind of the only word that I can use. You know, missing sleep, riding 150 miles a day, missing sleep, working too much, riding too much, sweating too much adrenaline. So tonight I'm going to sleep. I'm going to turn the lights off and lay down. But so I've been trying to address some depression and stuff like that. But the food is kind of threefold. Okay, the food, the gross matter like the cellulose and the seeds and whatnot, they pass through. They're just kind of feces, right? They're fiber, feces. Okay, but now the water and the minerals and the micronutrients, that becomes our flesh, right? But what I feel is, I won't say the most important, but one of the most probably overlooked is the effect of the food on the subtle vibrations of the mind. And this is one of the reasons why raw food can be so beneficial, because you move away from some of the more heavier, stimulating type foods, warrior foods. You know, you wouldn't really want your soldiers to be raw vegans, because they will just be like, I don't want to kill nobody. But if you feed them a lot of meat, stimulating foods, cooked dead foods, they'll get that, you know, it creates this heavy, earthy kind of you against me. When you become elevated through too much fruit, there's no you and me anymore. There's only all of it, you know, everything. So if you want to be happy and have peaceful, kind thoughts, you know, it's helpful to eat those foods that will produce. Now, what foods are those in my opinion? Fruit, herbs, grains, sprouted, usually. Now, this is more of in the Ayurvedic tradition. You know, raw milk, butter, dates, you know, carbohydrates, really, to be honest with you. You know, you're not going to be a bodybuilder on just carbohydrates. You know what I mean? So it depends on, that's why there doesn't need to be any judgment in the food, because other people have different priorities. You know, for me, I'm more of a be happy, peaceful, spiritual, loving fields of energy that are more expansive than come back to earth, get more stuff, beat the other guy, you know, kind of thing. Get as much as I can off this planet before I leave. They might not be tapped into that eternal destiny, you know, that eternal knowledge that you're just passing through here in this life, you know, as an opportunity probably to have the karma. Then you get the body that goes with the karma, and then you got all the other stuff in the mind and the heart, karma energy, and then you have a lifetime as a human and you get to work out a little bit of that. Or if you're really, you know, born with favorable circumstances, you can work through a lot. And I decided, when I started to begin to understand that, I thought, well, I'm just going to choose to go through as much of the karma as possible without, you know, really stressing about it. But I thought, well, if it's about evolution, let's just do this. So you read the good books that elevate the thoughts. You eat the good foods that elevate the thoughts, that keep you in that place of constant evolution. And then you really start to try to, if you want to find happiness, for the people that are experiencing the depression, obviously the food is very helpful, but also service to other people. You got to quit tripping on your own little problems, you know what I mean? Looking at the problems and look at what you can do to be a solution in your own experience, you know what I mean? To create, you know, to be your own solution, you know. So there's so many things that a human being can do. We have so many options and so much knowledge. It just takes a little bit of effort to, you know, I mean, it's 1 degree. If you're 1 degree off and you go across the whole ocean, you end up 300, 400, 500 miles off course. You know what I mean? So you got to keep bringing yourself back to the eternal thoughts, and that's what keeps you from taking any of this stuff too seriously and letting it wrap your head. Or your head goes crazy. You're tripping. You get depressed, anxious, because you're anxious because you want to make money. When you're young, you're anxious because I don't have enough money. Then you got money, and now you're anxious about you're going to lose it. You know. And the money comes and goes. The looks come and go. The health comes and goes. All of it comes and goes. And if you're attached to it being a certain way, you're going to experience a lot of anxiety. So once you start to cultivate that eternal state of consciousness, you know, then you can start releasing some of those anxieties and stuff, and you can realize that there's one thing you can be guaranteed in this life, and that is things are going to change, right? So if you're clinging to keeping things a certain way, no wonder you're so anxious and depressed, you know? So this is all coming from not only the knowledge of the books, but my own experience living in a relatively happy place from times where I was, you know, close to ending it, you know, and trying to end it a few times unsuccessfully. Thank God, you know. So I know what it's like to be hopelessly depressed and have no hope whatsoever. But I look back now. Of course, I had a lot of help, and they're still with me now. You know, they're everywhere. I don't know if you guys can see them or not. You know, but I'm sure you got your own angels floating around. You know, taking care of you. Without the angels, most of us probably wouldn't even be here. Be in a dumpster somewhere, whatever. Because I don't see a bunch of saints around here. I know you guys have done your fair share of stuff out there in the world. So, another attentive group. Like I said, Dan the man, he's a little beat up. So I was going to do something a little different, but everybody looks at me and I think, oh, maybe I should say something. But I really would like to, I think this would be interesting for the viewers on YouTube to just have some questions, you know, just ask some questions, any kind. Food questions, spiritual questions, personal questions, which I won't answer. No. You guys already know everything about me. I'm a crybaby, you know, whatever.
I got a question. When you, being up in the Northeast here, we don't have, like, in the winter time comes, about a year and a half ago I started, you know, going raw, and I found that the fruits were really
not good,
over the top energy. And then winter came, and it was like, people can attest to this, you couldn't even get a peach around here, okay? It looked like a peach, it felt firm, but then when you went to eat it, there's no juice,
no.
It was not sweet, and my energy just came back probably within the last 2 months because I was just loading up on the watermelons and the cherries. And
yeah.
What do you do when it comes wintertime? Do you have to go into bear mode, or what's the option? Bananas can only go so far.
Well, education helps. What to do in the winter on raw food. You know, you look when your raw food is for the first long time. You're always like, what can you do with those squashes? They're always there. They sit there. Are they Christmas decorations or what? Well, when you learn how to like use the squashes and the seeds and nuts from the winter before. Now the winter time is hibernation time, more heavier foods. That's why we always do the spring cleanse, spring fasting, the herbal cleanse in the springtime to clean out the heaviness of the winter. Squashes, you know, and I don't know if you're totally raw or what. Do you try to be 100% raw?
I am now.
Cool.
I probably like maybe the last 7 months probably.
Yeah, the fruits, man, they really do bring the energy. But the wintertime, obviously the days are a lot shorter. And in the wintertime, I eat a lot more hearty vegetables myself. I mean, this time of year, I eat like, you know, 70% fruit and the rest of it greens. And then there's another time of the year, like in the spring and fall, it'll be more like 50-50 with some nuts and seeds. And then the wintertime is heartier vegetables with like nut pates and stuff. One time I was doing a juice feast in the middle of winter. In Seattle, it's pretty mellow, you know, the winter. It's, you know, it's about 40 degrees, and I'm just in the middle of the juice fast, about 45 days. And well, overnight, it went down to 11 degrees and 4 feet of snow fell. So in the outside RV kitchen, all the carrots and everything froze, just instantly. So there was 4 feet of snow and about 300 yards to dig to get out the van to get to the store to get more food. So I had no food, but I did have these hazelnuts, and that was like, and I was on the juice fast. I'd been pretty cold because when you're juice fasting, your temperature is usually a couple degrees lower, and in the summer, and the fruits and the herbs are generally low heat foods, you know, and that's why they're so alkalizing, and that's why they're so healing. But I had to dig the snow out, so all I had was these hazelnuts. Well, I ate about, you know, a cup of hazelnuts. Well, about half an hour later, my body heat went shooting through the roof. I'm out there with my shirt off, shoveling this snow. You know what I mean? So I had a really profound lesson that day in how warming and heating the nuts and seeds are. But you know, I'm always going to tell you to soak the nuts and soak the seeds. Get rid of the phytates, get rid of the enzyme inhibitors, and activate them. If everything you eat is living, raw and living food, it's just going to be a constant flow of energy. Different kinds of energy, you know. The nuts are definitely different, heavier, they leave more metabolic waste. You can't avoid metabolic waste in this world. You'll be like an Indian fakir in India, in the Himalayas, weighing like 90 pounds, eating brown rice. You know, and then you can avoid metabolic waste, but even he eats the brown rice and still gets metabolic waste. Like a watermelon has a lot less metabolic waste per energy than soaked nuts and seeds. So that's why the energy, you know, I mean, that's why when you ride 130 miles on cherries, by the end of the day, your mind is like a fireball of clarity. You know what I mean? And then when you eat your heavier meal, it's just all that energy goes, you know. The cleaner and more simple you eat, the clearer your mind is, especially with things that are like, you know, the fruits. The fruits are the food for the brain and the elevation of consciousness. The sweet things, the mind runs on sugar for the most part, except in the fasting state. Then the mind runs on fat. Babies run on fat. The baby mind runs on fat, and then you grow up and your brain runs on sugar and you get used to it. That's why there's a lot of sugar addictions, and then a lot of people have a lot of problems because in this society we have all these interesting and strange ideas, but every cell in your body runs on sugar. So you might as well, if you don't have the fruit sugar, you're going to go back to the white sugar. So they say, my doctor said not to eat no sugar because I have this or that or whatever. And I say, well, but you go back to the Danishes and the donuts, don't you? Well, yeah, but my doctor says no fruit. If you ate fruit, you would be able to stay off the Danishes and the carbohydrates and the sugar cereals and the little muffins and stuff. See what I'm saying? So eat the fruit with the fiber, which the fruit, I love fruit. It's a highly vibrational food which elevates the consciousness and expands. It's a love note from the tree to the human beings, you know, that says, here, eat me, propagate my seeds. It's everybody wins in the fruitarian way. Now the fruit these days isn't as good as it used to be. You know, when the soil was dank and you could shake the tree and catch the cherries that fell. That's ripe food. The peach you're talking about, I haven't had a good peach in years. A real peach, where you shake the tree, it falls into your hand, and then it melts into your face. That's a peach. We get one about every 5 years, huh? The stone fruits are rough. I mean, you know, when you get fruit that's on the tree, I mean, that's why we're pretty rough. If you eat that starchy fruit that's not sugar ripened, it is acidic. You have to, it's the last 3, 4, 5 days on the tree where all that alkalinity comes in. That's why even at Whole Foods, it's not, you have to wait till the watermelons are just right. Now the cherries are in season, right? And the smart farmers know that there's dudes like me out here that are going to pick it, try it, and it's going to, if it ain't legit, I'm not buying it. Some people will think, oh, it looks like a cherry, I'll buy it. It's $2.99. I say, it looks like a cherry, it tastes like a cherry, $6.99 a pound, I'm buying it. So the farmers that are willing to take a risk for dudes like me, those are the people that I appreciate, that let the fruit ripen up on the tree and make the effort to get it to the market, to the consumer, because it doesn't last long. You know what I mean? So, you know, we got our work cut out for us as far as educating ourselves on getting good food. And you know, with the fruit, I don't just eat all fruit. You know, I have to eat the veggies, the herbs. I love the herbs now. You know, my thing, what I focus on myself, and I don't do perfect all the time because I've been riding across the Midwest, and you know, if you try to do perfect, you think I'm skinny now. I'll be like this. I am dead. I'm perfect. I eat perfect. You know, I ate hella avocados because sometimes that's all there is. You go into a bodega, there's 2 ripe bananas, an inorganic red apple, and 6 overripe avocados. You know, so you don't really want the apple because they taste like crap, but the avocados, those are legit. And fat is a good source. You know what I mean? Fat's got me through this ride a lot of times, and the ghetto grape juice, you know, that's been cooked. Thank God, though, since I've gotten, you know, once I got to like St. Louis, things have picked up because every day I ride from one Whole Foods to the next. I'm like, the next one's 212 miles. I can do it. It might take me 17.5 hours, but I can do it. You know. So I've been a lot better. Now, now that I got the diet, if I can get some sleep, then I'll be golden. But it's been really hard to stay balanced. So what it is I'm able to have a lot of compassion for the normal, regular people. Is anybody here perfect? Man, I don't approve. Are you a ninja? You like to do it right, huh?
He's trying to win points.
So, now that we're not perfect and we realize that we're all just doing the best we can, that's why the Life Regenerator blew up, because he was like the raw food guy who was like, oh, you're a real person? Me too. I could make videos and I could make you think I'm perfect, but I don't want to do that because I'm not perfect. But I do believe in the fruits and the vegetables for those subtle qualities, for the ease of digestibility, for the understanding of the awakening of the nature. You eat fruits and vegetables, you don't, I should exercise. You're like, I have to exercise. You know, if you're a raw food dude, you're like, I gotta ride my bike across this country to burn off some of this stuff. You know? And that's how much you want to exercise, you know, because you have to exercise because you have that energy from the raw foods, you know. And the subtle vibrations of the food expand the consciousness, connect you to the earth, you appreciate Mother Nature. But if you also take into the eternal aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it, which is the direction that the Life Regenerator is going, which really is the true life regeneration. Because you ain't never going to eat perfect. You ain't never going to always have the right perfect options. We got it good. When we have Whole Foods and we have farmers markets and stuff like that, we got it good, you know. But there's going to be times when, you know, you're somewhere in the Midwest, Oklahoma, and they ain't got nothing but beef steaks and iceberg lettuce. Well, guess what I got to pick, you know? I get to eat iceberg lettuce, 3 bags of it with some avocados on it, and that's my dinner.
Ghetto salad.
Ghetto salad, man. Ghetto salad saved a brother many times. You know what I mean? But, you know, you just got to do the best you can. And then one of the things that I've really enjoyed talking about is the acceptance of one another. Like the raw food thing, I looked at it, because I've been on the raw food thing, looking at the scene, watching the videos, reading the books, following the teachers for a long time. When I was 28, I said, God, when am I going to get to teach? And the message was, when you're 35. I was like, damn, dude, that's a long time. 7 more years. It was like, and I knew in my heart, I knew that it was telling me that I had a lot of training. But I'm thankful that it only 2.5 years ago, I made my first video. Nobody ever even heard of me before that. I never wrote a book. I still haven't. I don't have enough time to do anything.
Aren't you supposed to be writing a book? Or I thought you had a book coming out.
I'm going to get a ghostwriter and sit down and go through it. know. But right now, I'm just day to day helping people. There's so many people that have so many things, and I know that, I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I have this I don't know, this thing. I just know that it's all good. I just know that it's eternal, and that even if you totally screw up and you totally waste away this whole life, you're going to get it to come back and do it again. But I'm trying to help people on a practical level, so that and guiding them back to that source. If we look outside of ourselves for happiness, it's only going to be very short-lived. Very short-lived, because the conditions are going to change. You know, if your happiness is health, you know, which, you know, could easily be something that I would get attached to, then, you know, that could be a problem, because health can come and go. Same with the money, same with the relationships, you know. So if you're looking outside yourself for happiness, that's not the best way to go. And this whole world is set up for that. And we shouldn't get mad at ourselves or anyone else for believing that illusion. I work on it every day, looking through that illusion. And yesterday was a huge day for me, going to see that healer and having him confirm, because I think that we've known each other before, and we came together again to help one another, you know. And for him to remind me that what I'm doing by evolving and speaking about the things about bringing people back to the eternal knowledge of the self, the kingdom of heaven is within you. You know what I mean? I mean, so whatever, I've studied all the religions. So the Christian, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The Hindu is the self. The Buddha is the enlightenment, the Buddhism. What's the difference? Nothing. You get a lot of flack, but I don't care about that, because I don't think anybody here is going to give me flack, because the people that come out aren't here to give flack. If you want to sit at home at the computer and give me flack on YouTube, you ain't going to come out. And, you know, but, you know, so it's all the same. The religions, doesn't matter. You know, to you it matters. You got your religion, you got your brothers and sisters at church, but you're still looking for the kingdom of heaven within you, because this is paradise on earth now. What is the paradise on earth? When your mind gets healed, when your mind becomes whole again, when you realize and remember. All I am here to do is remind you of what you already know. I'm just outspoken about, hey, remember what we are, and then you go home feeling refreshed for a while. Then you forget again, and then hopefully you'll watch another video or something, and I will remind you. And while I'm reminding you to look inward for the joy, that I'm reminding myself. So who wins here? I'm the biggest winner. You guys. I got a cool rap. For some reason people are fascinated with all this. I'm happy about that, because I like to talk about it, because I get to, when you guys come out, I get to pick what I get to talk about, and I'm here to talk about this stuff to remind myself. So I get to stay in this field which says, oh yeah, Dan, remember the kingdom of heaven is within you, and if you try to find happiness outside yourself, it'll be very short-lived. Again, so who are you living for? What are you living for? And I think for me, the most satisfaction in my conscious mind is going to be, I live for God. I've read a million books. I've been through a lot of cool stuff. Some of it not so cool, but it ends up being cool, because like I said, turn your doo-doo into flowers. You know what I mean? And that's what this is. I'm sitting here being a flower, and you guys are all enjoying the flowering of the Dan, because of all the crap that I went through and searched like hell to find a way to get out of it. Suffering and pain, and I'm not out of it, but I'll tell you, if you saw me back then, when I was a young man with all kinds of problems, stress, conflict, twisted up in knots, you know, drug addicted, homeless, you know, and now you see me, I mean, I get a little moved by some of the negativity